Dwayne, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
When did we schedule this?
I sent out everything last week, Tuesday and Wednesday.
Oh, I couldn't even find the link.
It wasn't in your email?
It was in my email. I just couldn't find it. It was buried under a whole bunch of emails. I had to search for it. Maybe a lot of people's Father's Day. A lot of people.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Oh, happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think people might be off.
You don't have that comma, huh?
No. No, not yet, at least. Beatrice says Happy Father's Day. The Beatrice says Happy Father's Day.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I should take off that background. Oh. Everybody, we're just gonna wait a couple more minutes to see if we get more people in class. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Hope everyone is doing well. Okay, so there's a couple more people here. Welcome, everybody. And happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. So we're going to go ahead and start today's open discussion, as well as a final look. I don't know if it'll be a final. Hopefully we'll get to the rest of the handout. If not, then we'll pick it up in next class, as well as start the next set of handouts. So as is our typical modus operandi, go ahead and either raise your hand or type your question in the chat, and I'll relate that question to Nehemiah. Also, if you look in the diagram folder, I think the next set of handouts we can go over, unless there's any specific requests for a handout. You can take a look at the 2 karma diagrams. First one I'm going to put up here, called the karmic framework of creation. And Nehemiah has gone over these many times in various ways throughout the classes. We even have a couple of classes on the karmic framework of creation, as well as specifically on karma. Every class is on karma one way or another. But this is actually a 4-page handout. Let me zoom out a bit. So this will take us quite some time to go through. I say maybe a couple of classes per handout. I'll try not to belabor every single point just to draw it out, but this will be the next handout we go over. It's in the folder. So you can go ahead and start taking a look at it, reading it over, any questions you may have about it or things that aren't clear, and prepare them for our next open discussions. So I see we already have some questions. No voice. Is everyone able to hear and see me all right? Okay, great. All right, Jack, I see your hand is raised. Go ahead and ask your question.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Jack?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I was just wondering about the 12 blessings and the order of the group souls, because it goes those who work for peace, then the wise ones, then those who love. Is it based on how many people are in each group? How is that ordered? I mean, when you get to the sun and the supreme laws of karma, I understand it's but you would have thought that the planetary ones would be like later after, you know, the Thanksgivers, because, you know, the planet, we owe so much to the planetary ones.
Well, the Master Jesus was referencing the cosmic beings that came to this earth. If you go back and read that, he was referencing
Yep.
the Jesus, the Buddhas, the Krishnas, the
Yep.
adepts. He was referencing them. He wasn't necessarily referencing the cosmic beings that serve us outside of the earth. You know.
Sure, yeah, I get that. I just wondered what, you know, if is it based on the size of the group soul then, or something like that? Because have the other thanksgivers and those who work for peace more important to the
No,
karmic?
no, not necessarily. When that energy manipulation was done in 1958, it was done in accordance to him manipulating the energy in order to bring about a certain result at that time. So he chose those subjects as a point of contact to release energy to change the karmic positions of the world, or that segment of the world at that time. That's why he did that. So it wasn't necessarily him designing that for the 12 to do a 12 blessing, although that was part of it. But I think that was insignificant. Part of it, it was Dr. King who came and revealed what can be done with this knowledge and energy manipulation. You know, the 12 blessings is one of the most powerful tantric rituals that I know of that can be openly given to people. So, and that's what it is. And Dr. King, through his samadhi, was able to do that. Dr. George King.
Okay.
And the Thanksgivers are the divas. So you have divas on every level. Even the Cosmic Masters is the Devata, which is part of the Divic structure, the Divic kingdom structure. You know, so when you talking about the Thanksgivers, you're talking about the Divic kingdom and the Devatars, which are the Cosmic Masters, which really includes the planets and suns as well.
Oh, I thought the Thanksgivers were just those who give thanks to the demons.
No, it's the Divic kingdom. It's those who give thanks and those who help manipulate the energy through the Divic kingdom. Because the Divic kingdom and us, which is the great mystic secret, is one. Okay, so if you go back and you study karma, you'll notice that even at the insect, the insect and fish and animal existence, the Divic kingdom work as part of their mind structure. And when you go into the intricate tantric knowledge, which is mystic knowledge, you'll notice that at least 360 divas operate within our auric structure to help us manipulate every action, every thought and action that we make. So you can't say the Diva Kingdom. You can't talk about the divas and not include yourself, and not include the great ones, because even the solar lords manipulate the great energy of the mighty sun in order to allow all life to exist within the solar system. And they are part of the Divic structure, because what are they doing? They are loyal servants of the lords of karma that does what? That makes sure that the law is perfect in its action and reaction. So, and even Mars Sector 6, this great cosmic being, they refer to him as what? A lord of karma. Because he's a great devata. So the Thanksgivers are more than just those who give thanks. You know, it's the whole devic structure.
So when you say we have divas in our, do you mean that we have divas in our aura the way that we have bacteria in our stomach or in our cells?
What is the bacteria? Is the bacteria not a substance of the devic kingdom? It's one and the same. It's one and the same. You know, if I hold up this bottle of water, what does that tell you? Physically, that tell you that a diva is present, because the only way the water is present is the diva is present. So then, therefore, I have 70% of my physical body is water. So what does that tell you? The divas are present within me. See? So the divas in every we're told that when the great holy word is spoken from the mighty sun, every time there's a rush of Shakti power, which is a combination of which forms a pattern of what they call tabic matter or tava matter. So this tabic matter carries out the will of the absolute via the sun, and it blankets the earth in 360 different degrees. And those 360 degrees are 300, each one of them is a host of divas, 360 divas. And those divas help make up the auric structure of every living being here on earth. And they broken up into groups, into multiple groups. And you have so many tabic rays that go into each chakra of your body. And they are groups of liquid, groups of solids that control solids, liquids, heat, fire, air, etheric matter, sound. You know, they take care of all those things. They take care of the mental world too. So everything responds and assisted and is assisted and respond, but with the divas in order to hold our existence. And that's one of the great secrets of metaphysics or mysticism, which is not talked about because most people don't know. But when you go and study the teachings, you'll see, oh yeah, this is what it is.
And so then the eighth blessing for those who heal, why is that more important than the divas?
The sixth blessing is
sorry.
The sixth blessing.
Yeah.
The eighth blessing is blessed is the mighty sun.
Sorry, yeah. So why would be those who heal be more important than those the Devic kingdom? It's
not more important. I wouldn't say that because it's not more important. But when you get to the point, it's in succession. When you get to the point of those who heal are making a sacrifice. And what are we told by those the greatest ones among us is who? Is those who make the sacrifice. Those who take out their personal time to help another person. So it's not that the Thanksgivers are greater than the healers and the healers are greater. No, it has nothing to do with that. It was, like I said, it was just a manipulation at the time of how he manipulated the energy. but all of them, the peace workers are great. Those who love are great. The wise ones are great. The planetary ones are great. I mean, because if you're a planetary ones, you do all that stuff anyway, and then some.
Yeah, you're getting blessed many times. Yeah.
Yeah. So and then if you are a Thanksgiver, you're bringing about peace. You're using your wisdom. You projecting your love. You are in concert with the planetary ones, and of course you are the Thanksgivers, and you are a healer. So it's not that one is greater than the other. It's just the manipulation at the time, like I said earlier.
Okay, I understand. And in the last blessing, Dr. King says, Lord of Brahma, a divine Lord of creation. Is he referring to Brahma as a singular, as one of the supreme lords of creation, or is it another word for the absolute?
Which blessing you talking about? The 12th blessing?
The blessing of Jesus, yeah. The last blessing.
Yeah, the 12th blessing, he's the last blessing is really blessed is Jesus. But the 12th blessing is he's blessing the absolute. And when the Master Jesus blessed the absolute, he gives a brief description of the absolute. And in there, he talk about briefly how the universe correlates back to the body of the absolute in its perfect operation. So when you hear him describe the absolute or bless the absolute, in the blessing of the absolute, he describes the parts of the absolute's function.
But is Brahma a lord of creation or another name for the absolute?
Brahma is another name for the absolute, well, Brahma is actually another name for God, and Brahma is used in multiple aspects of God. It depends on what type of energy you're trying to when using the word Brahma, how you refer to it. So,
because it could also mean the sun, no? Like Brahma in the Hindu scripts.
Well, yeah, and then it can also mean the moon too. So that's what the tantric teachings tell us. Vishnu is known as the sun, and then yet Vishnu is not the sun, but yet Vishnu comes from the sun. And then it refers to the sun as the Mahabindu. So which is the great point of consciousness or compaction of Shakti. So there's many words. I mean, there's many words, letters, mantras that refer back to aspects of the absolute. And we choose the word absolute because God or the Supreme Being is absolute. Just like the Jehovah represents the galaxy, which is just an aspect of God, an aspect of the absolute. It's not necessarily the absolute, but it represents the Milky Way, which is the galaxy. In mystic terms, it's not the Supreme Being, and yet it's just a part of it.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
And Nehemiah, when you say the 12 blessings is, you think, the highest tantric ritual that can be given to the public, what do you mean by that?
What I mean,
Yeah.
because in Tantra, you take several systems of yoga and to bring it together to bring about a resort, a concentrated resort. You know, so what does, when you look at the 12 blessing have you, number one, to have you demonstrating Jnana yoga in all your movements, because all your movements are predetermined. And intelligence or enlightenment is to predetermine all your actions, so you can calculate what your results would be. So it demonstrates Jnana yoga. It demonstrates Karma yoga. Karma yoga is the yoga of applied action on the Jnana yoga in order to produce positive results. You know, so what you're doing, that's what you're doing when you're doing the 12 lessons and you're predetermined. It also demonstrates Bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is the yoga of devotion, and where all your actions, you make sure that you observe the absolute or God. So definitely it's Jnana yoga, Bhakti yoga. I mean, Jnana yoga, Karma yoga, Bhakti yoga, and also demonstrates Raja yoga, because in Raja yoga, in the 12 blessing, you are doing mental practices. You know, you're taking control over your mental body. You know, and you're using your mental body throughout the whole process of the ritual, the practice. It also encompasses Hatha yoga too, because you're taking control over your body, and you're positioning your body in certain mudras in order to manipulate the subtle and gross energies of the body in order to allow them to be projected, to project subtle energy from your body in a controlled environment, you know. So with purpose and direction. The energy that's coming from you at that time is leaving you with purpose and direction. So you become a point of comic control, in a sense. And so then therefore it also have you practicing mantra yoga, mudra yoga, and it also have you practicing cry yoga, and so it have you practicing multiple yogas under a controlled environment in order to bring about a resort, a massive resort. So that's what Tantra yoga is, because Tantra yoga, which Mantra yoga is part of Tantra yoga. And how do they describe Mantra yoga? And how do they describe Mudra yoga as well? Because it's part of Tantra yoga. They say you can guarantee the resorts of Mantra yoga and Tantra yoga in the mystic world. And so because why? That's what Tantra yoga does. It looms the yogas together in order to bring about an immediate resort. And when you look at the 12 blessings, that's exactly what it does. It's a tantric ritual that have you to pull in hundreds of thousands of units of energy within a small time frame, and release that energy out to the world with direction and purpose. in order to bring about a good result, a positive result. So if you go back and study the 12 blessings, you'll see what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Okay. A couple questions from YouTube. Through prayer and ritual, are the devas there with us?
Yes, it is.
And can Brahma be Shiva?
It depends on what you're referencing and what type of power you're trying to tap into. Brahma is an aspect of God, like all of us, but it's a very, very high aspect of God. And it is a state of God consciousness too. When we pray, we release energy. That energy is manipulated by the devas. If we release negative energy, the devas bring about the negative result. If we release positive energy, the devas unbalanced or indifferent prayer brings about indifferent and possibly negative result. If you study the 12 blessings, they are balanced prayers, and the ritual is balanced. And as long as you perform it properly, you'll bring about positive, I would say ultra positive results. And you give the devas good energy to work with, because the devas never deviate from the law of karma. Meaning that if you give it, as Dr. King said, if you give it bad bricks or blocks to build a house with, the devas will build that house with the bad blocks or bricks that you gave it. So of course, the devas are constantly present among us.
And so in prayer power, we're essentially performing the 12 blessings, but instead of directing the energy out to the world, we're pushing it into a battery. That too is
yeah. If you notice, I don't mean to cut you off, but if you notice in prayer power, what do they use to charge the batteries with?
the mantra that's generated by the attendees.
No.
Or the energy that's generated through the mantra.
No. It's the prayer. It's the initiates collect the mantra energy, and they use what? The 12 blessing prayers in order to place the energy within the batteries.
Right.
So it is that prayer team. It's that prayer team. They go up there and they use a particular mudra to collect the energy and bring the energy through their body and release it into the battery using one of the balanced prayers of the 12 blessings. So it's, they allow their body to become an instrument, a mechanical instrument to collect that energy and pull that energy back within them. I mean, back, within them and back out with purpose and direction inside the battery. So it's not complex. It's simple when you think about it, when you look at it and think about it.
So do the same rules apply? So, for example, when we're performing the 12 blessings, we say, you know, the peace workers, those who love the planetary ones, and that energy is directed towards that collective group. But when we're performing prayer power, the prayer team is still repeating those same prayers, but that energy is being put into the battery. So when that energy is later released, does it go to, you know, the workers of peace in the same way that the 12 blessings service works, or is it specifically sent to the group it's sent to?
It has the ability to go wherever you send it and to bring about a balance for the great cosmic master, which you remember I told you the difference between a cosmic master and you know, Jesus. I mean, Jesus said it, and the masters of earth is that the cosmic master does what with his psychic ability? You remember I told you? When they look into the future?
No, I don't remember.
You know, they can see. It's in the three sabers I hear when the Master Jesus talks about it. You know, they were able to look into the future and see the time.
Yeah, they can see into
time unfold, huh?
They can see into time as opposed to just seeing possibility.
Yeah, I mean, they can actually pinpoint it. So in the wisdom of Jesus, when he gave the 12 blessings, maybe that's the formula, maybe that's the balanced formula, the first six blessings, maybe that's the balanced formula in order to bring about balance in you know, in the gross physical world. Peace, wisdom, love, blessing the planetary ones, the Thanksgivers, and bringing about a healing, blessing those who heal. Maybe those six actions help to bring about stabilization on the physical world, because we noticed that when they charge the battery, they go to the sixth blessing. We noticed that, and then Dr. King told us if you didn't have time to do the full 12 blessings, do the first six blessings, and then come back later and do what? The other six. So it brings about some type of balance, and you notice over the years, I've been doing it for 30, 40 years, and I noticed that it's a pattern that can stabilize things very quickly. You know, I noticed that sometime if my life is going chaotic, I stop. I do those 12 blessings, or the 6 blessings, and I can see a stabilization begin to happen. So it's a ritual. It's a ritual. So I mean, you know, so it's just like H2O, like I tell you guys. It's not hard to think about. It's not, you know, you have an ingredients to something that works all the time. You know, if you want to balance your body out, drink the right amount of water, you know. And you retain what? Consciousness.
So does that mean at some point in our evolution, our prayer power practice will include the other 6, or the cosmic part of it?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. You know, I mean, I think if you do it, Dr. King gave us a demonstration, or as the master theorist described, the charging of the battery on one of the higher rims. You remember that?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Remember, it was done in just
In a few moments, really.
a few moments, you know. So it didn't take the long period of time that we took when you had a cosmic master, a fourth aspect cosmic master, go there and just do his thing by charging the battery.
Yeah, the cosmic master was able to charge an entire mountain in a single trip.
Yeah. So you know, it's different.
Okay, are there any other questions? What's the chat? Okay, Jack, go ahead and ask a question.
Yeah, I was reading that Dr. King says that I've also heard you say it, that the prana from the sun alternates every 32 hours. It's 32 minutes, one of the different pranas, and then it alternates every day. And he said that if you do 160 minutes of practice at the same time every day, then you charge yourself in the most optimal way in terms of the pranas. I was just wondering if you could talk a bit more about this, and also if what type of practice could that be? Do you have to do just mantra for that time, or could it be mantra and prayer and your pranayama, or just your package, or how would that work optimally?
The yoga practices, what it is every 32 minutes, the word is released every 32 minutes. And with that word, a particular energy pattern is released. Now, the overall energy pattern might be, let's say, for instance, apana, right? Or in the Mahabhutas, Vritis, right? Which is similar energy, like a growth type energy. Then the next one would be a liquid type energy, which is Dhyana. And the next 30 some minutes, you know. Now, what they do, you take 32 minutes and how do I say this? You take 32 minutes
Times 5.
and you time that by 5, right? Because you have 5 major pranas, you have 5 major bhutas, and that's how he come up with that number. But when the prana is released, that prana circulates for I think for 3 hours. For 3 hours. So you have 3 hours of fresh 5 major pranas going through, circling the earth. So what the yogi is taught to practice his pranayama to build himself up to be able to practice pranayama and energy, subtle prana manipulation type energies. I mean practices for those 3 hours, or so that they can capture that all 5 major pranas. So they have various techniques in order to help bring that about. You understand what I'm saying?
So it would be primarily pranayama.
Yeah. It'll be what you say?
Pranayama.
Yeah, it could be mantra. I mean, mantra is pranayama. Pranayama is mantra. Mantra manipulates prana. Pranayama means to control the prana.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's what pranayama. Yama means control.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. During the during the 160 minutes, you can do mantra, you can do prayer, because prayer is what too? Prayer is a manipulation of prana. It's a control of prana. Mantra is a control of prana. Pranayama, of course, is control of prana. So you can have a combination of those things in order to manipulate prana. Of course, the yogis, and then also you cannot really practice a yoga without pranayama. Pranayama is a part of all the yogas. It's a part of all the yogas. And even when you go into a meditative state, you're still practicing pranayama. So pranayama is a part of all the yogas and all the practices of yoga. Even in the meditative and layer yoga type practice where you withdraw your consciousness, withdraw your breath, and it seems like you're not breathing, but you're still doing what? You're still manipulating prana. So pranayama works on all those levels. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
Are there any further questions?
No more questions?
Yeah, I don't see any more coming in. In that case, we'll continue on with the handout. And if you have any questions, feel free to send them in the chat or raise your hand. I'll go ahead and pose them. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at last time we looked at the first 3 centers moving along Sushumna, from the base of the spine, the sex center, and the solar plexus center. We also talked about Kundalini being mostly dormant in the base of the spine center, and how in its dormancy it blocks the doorway to Sushumna. Trying to see if I can zoom this in a little bit. Take it off remote. Zoom in a bit more. Okay, so we're going to pick up at the heart center, which is center 4 here. So the heart center, this vortex center, is the seat of the soul. It brings meaning to the movement of mental, subtle, and gross energies passing through it. What does seat of the soul mean, anyway?
It's one of the great manipulating points for the soul. Is the pressures of karma there allows certain things to be placed in a system where the soul, where a greater portion of the soul can reside. In other words, it's just like it's just like we are told when the soul brings the Shakti power down to the Muladhara chakra, the base chakra, the pressures of karma there are such that the whole becomes the not whole. Remember that?
Yes.
And so then a very great high part of the soul cannot reside there unless it's reside there in what they call the Shiva state, where it becomes dormant and non-responsive, and it can only release a part of its energy in cycles and segments, you know. So, but when you get to the heart chakra, the soul can operate from in a wider span and bring substance and meaning and soul activity there. So it becomes the seat of the soul.
So in the centers below the heart center, is the soul dormant?
The soul is not the activity, the expression of the soul is dormant. Yeah, you could say it's dormant. It's not active. That's why when they describe the impurity traits of man, you find the 21 major impurity traits, which is very terrible. I mean, deceit, hatred, lust. You find all these terrible traits within those lower chakras. And when you go to the animalistic chakras below the base of the spine, it gets even worse. So, but at this level, at the soul level, all of those at the soul level, all those things begin to dissipate because the soul is more present in the heart chakra. That's why also another thing about the 12 blessings that Jack wanted to know and bring up. The soul is, the heart chakra is the place it's one of the only places that you can put you can have, I mean, you can concentrate on the chakra. You can place a slight concentration there, and it is the place where you can safely push energy out. It's one of the few places you can push energy out of that particular chakra. You can use that chakra in order to project energy. You know, because why? There's a greater presence of the soul there. And it can be controlled there. So it is that point where you can bring meaning to the energy, conscious meaning, you know, also unconscious, but conscious meaning to the energy that's being released there. You know, is unless you have a great level of concentration contemplation, you shouldn't be pushing energy out of the lower chakras or even the higher chakras without, you know, without the guidance of a adept or master or experienced teacher.
You mentioned conscious meaning, and also in the diagram you say that the heart center, it brings meaning to the movement of mental, subtle, and gross energies that pass through it. So what does meaning mean in this? Does it mean
Meaning
direct?
that it is here when the soul begins to manipulate, and let's say at the beginning of a life, a life cycle, it is the heart chakra where the soul builds the subtle bodies for that lifetime. It is, you know, that's the region where the soul began to manufacture and put together the astral body, restructure the mental body, add a new etheric body, add the patterns, the energy flows for that cycle of life. Set a timetable for that life too. I mean, it is here where the soul builds that new body for that new life. Even after death, when the soul when the individual or the intelligence go into what they call the soul slumber, or that meditative state before they begin to experience their life on the astral or etheric planes. The soul retires to that region of the auric structure and begin to build the body for that cycle before its new birth on that mental, subtle, astral, or etheric plane. And when it get ready to come back to the growth plane, it goes back to that area in order to build the body again. That's what the ancient tantric teachings teach us.
So that reminded me of something. I don't know if I'm allowed to ask it or not, but I guess I'll be told. In the description of the in the description of some of the weapons that are used in the alien mission, they said that they have weapons that can destroy you down to your soul body.
Well, the soul body there is considered aspects of the auric body. Just remember the nadic structure. The nadi structure is part of the auric body.
Mm-hmm.
They even talk about that in the Holy Bible. You go back to the Holy Bible and read parts of it, they talk about that.
So moving up, we have again the Pingala and Ida nadis. Pingala represented in the red line that intersects, crisscross intersection of the chakras, and Ida in blue. And next we have the throat chakra. It is a vortex point of purification and calibration of mental and subtle energies. So what purification and calibration, why do the mental and subtle energies need to be purified and calibrated?
In reference to its journey, in order to move to the Christ chakra or the Ajna chakra, or what we call the level of the avatar, which is the third eye and the Christ chakra and Ajna chakra, you have to, everything has to be purified in order to go beyond that point. Also, here again, the throat chakra represents the outer expression of every realm of existence. Okay, this is where you communicate from on the physical realm. This is where you communicate from on the astral. It have to be calibrated and modified and projected from this region on all the realms, at least on this earth that we know of. So that's why we can have complex mental thoughts on something and yet project that complex thought pattern in a few words on the gross physical plane. When I begin to speak to you, I can think of 1,000 words to describe this one thing on the mental plane, but I can bring it down, or I won't say words, but 1,000 pictures and angles and understanding. And yet, when I speak to you, I speak to you in a few words to give it description. Because why? When I speak to you, I have purified it and calibrated it to a level that can be understood on the physical gross plane. But yet, behind those words is hundreds, maybe thousands of other descriptions and other angles.
And you've taught us that sound is consciousness.
Right.
And in our speech, or you also told us that you can determine a lot about a person's state of mind and level of consciousness they're operating from by the way they speak and express themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it is that, like you're saying, taking the thoughts or mental impressions we have and then translating that into words, either by speech or by written or by that is that get purification calibration process, at least on a gross physical sense, that the throat center takes care of.
Right. And remember, even on the astral plane, you have gross.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You have solids. So
Mm-hmm.
it's there on every plane of existence. So that's why I said that it's on every plane of existence. This is how it operates.
So also the Udana prana, which flows through the head, arms, and legs, is that the primary prana that is used for conscious expression and interaction? Because it is
Yeah.
our arms, legs, and head that we use to interact with our environment and to express ourselves.
Yes, if you notice, the best actors on television and theater is those actors who can express themselves from the face, hands, legs, and body. They can, they can speak to you just by looking at you, just by holding a certain expression, holding their arms a certain way, moving a certain way, because why? They have mastered this energy, and it's the same thing with adepts and yogis as well. They don't have to speak so much through the voice, but they speak through their movements, through their, through their expression, through their full expression, and you get the answer.
And mudras help in that. 'Cause if you watch a lot of really famous dancers, particularly like Michael Jackson,
Yeah,
you'll see he adopts a lot of mudras while he's performing.
yeah. Even some of the people who I mean, they do it. I mean, you've seen Michael Jackson do it. You even see Donald Trump do it. He's constantly doing mudras when
Yeah.
when he's speaking.
Mm-hmm.
He constantly tap into he take the gross finger and put it with the mental finger, and then he waves it through the air. And I mean, they constantly do that stuff. I mean, and Michael Jackson, he used to put it in all his little dances.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Paula Abdul did the same thing. I mean, a lot of those dancers and singers, you would see them do that.
I have a question from YouTube. In a class section, you mentioned Jesus, Buddha, and others are like representatives of divine beings. What would those representatives look like in today's time? Would those people be like inventors, etc.?
They could be anything. They could be absolutely anything. It depends on what their mission is when they came to Earth. So, they can be almost anything. It depends on where the position they need to be in order to bring about the manipulation of energy. We know throughout time that the spiritual hierarchy of Earth have appeared and took on physical bodies throughout time in order to push inventions of certain of certain things through society in order to advance the society. Yes, they have did that too, but they can come as Jesus did as a carpenter, as Sri Krishna did as a taxi driver. They can come. They can come any type of way. I mean, a teacher, a student, a businessman, a father. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just where they need to be in order to manipulate the energy that they need to manipulate.
What is the proper way to meditate?
The the word meditate is used loosely, so I don't believe in the loose fashion of meditation. You must learn to concentrate first, and then learn to contemplate, and then eventually you'll get to meditation. This is the ancient teachings, and this is the true teachings of Raja Yoga, or the sutras of Patanjali, as were given to us, and they gave us the 8 limbs of yoga to help us develop ourselves mentally and spiritually. And I constantly stick by these teachings. So you first must, the first limb, you must learn to control your thoughts and actions, and that's called yama. And the second limb, you must observe God in all your actions, that's called niyama. And then the third limb is asana, where you must learn what I call, and the yogis call, the seats of power, or the positions of power. And that's where you bring control over the physical body. You stop moving around like restless animals and learn to sit still and receive the power of God. The next, the fourth limb is pranayama, where you learn to control the energies. And the first thing you do is learn how to breathe, to arrest your breath, to control your breath. And then the fifth lesson is pratyahara, where you learn to withdraw your senses into yourself and stop allowing your mind and body to respond to the sensational emotions from the outside world. And you take notice of the inner world. You take notice of the great power of the soul, the seat of the soul, the manipulation of energy that the soul is manipulating in order to give you this cycle of life. And then in the sixth limb, you learn to concentrate. You learn to bring about a singular thought, where if you want to focus all your energy and all your thoughts on one subject, then you can do this at ease. So you learn to channel your thoughts down one particular road or subject or on an object. And then once you do this long enough, you'll come to the point where you can begin to extract information embedded in that object or in that subject line, where you can hear, see, feel, and taste the subtle embedded information in that subject or in that object or in that place, wherever you decide to focus your mind on. And then that becomes contemplation. And after you have learned to contemplate, after you have practiced and dealt with this contemplation for a while, that will lead you into meditation, where when you pick an object in order to read it subtly and read the embedded information and see the atomic structure of that particular thing, then all of a sudden you notice that you become that thing. You become one with it, and that's true meditation. And at that point, you would have learned to manipulate the energies of the body, where you can meditate to a point where you can move the full power of Kundalini within the body and bring that full power of Kundalini to a focal point and become one with anything you choose to become one with. And that is the true meditation that's spoken about in the ancient teachings. I hope that answers your question.
Okay. Another question. I always seen music being something that has and will always transcend time. Do you believe the construct of words and the sounds of words exist on all realms?
Yes, I mean, and you got to understand that, like I said earlier, that mantra, which is sound vibration. Mantra is described as sound vibration. Mantra is part of the ancient teachings of Tantra knowledge, or Tantra Satra. So you have mantra satra. So you have, that's called knowledge, mantra knowledge, or sound vibration knowledge. So everything in the universe has a sound vibration. Now, we look at sound differently than as most people, because you have soundless sound, you have initial sound, you have soundless sound, and then you have gross sound, and you have more than that. You have at least 7 aspects of sound that you can go into. And sound is broken up just as you stated. It's broken up into letters, phrases, letters, words, and then phrases. So, but the thing we add is the initial sound, and then subtle sound, and then letters, words, and then phrases, and then sentences. So, and that is the thing that makes up gross systems and subtle systems. Okay, so sound is a part of everything. So what the yogis say, that everything has a vibration, a particular vibration. That vibration comes from that sound structure I just talked about. So everything, that's why music resonates with us. Music is a science. It's a part of nature. The only way you can get beautiful sounds like that is that someone was able to tap into the subtle knowledge of sound and or vibrational sound. When you begin to experience the great contemplative, meditative, and even sometimes the higher concentration states, you will notice that everything gives out a particular sound, and it sounds like music. If you were to concentrate and contemplate on grass, you will see that grass releases a beautiful tones and music. Trees does the same thing. It has a sound, a musical sound to it, and you can get wrapped up and just taken away with it if you're able to tap into and hear the music of the grass and the trees and nature. So everything has a vibration. Everything gives off a particular tone, a musical tone. So mantra is sound, and sound is consciousness.
Okay. So now we'll move on to the sixth center, the Christ chakra. It says the command center of spirit through soul, the point where the all knowledge space is known and experienced. What do you mean by command center of spirit through soul?
Meaning that this is a very high center. It's a center where the soul commands the different expressions of itself, and it follows the directives and precepts of the spirit. So everything in your life is in this physical body and this or org structure is controlled from that point, from that chakra. It's where your higher self resides, your soul resides, and it is where the spirit reveals itself to the soul through the different directives. And even in meditation, this is one of the highest points where the soul is bathed in the light of the spirit before the soul is ascended. So
the soul is bathed in the light of the spirit.
mm-hmm.
So what does that mean?
That's what happens in true meditation. Our whole goal is to be able to raise the power of Kundalini to a certain point where on each chakra level, the soul is gradually bathed in the light of the spirit. Because in each chakra level, you have a bindu, you have an all knowledge space. But the Christ chakra is the highest chakra for man here on this earth before he moves into the crown chakra, which is the chakra, which is the Buddhic realm of ascension. So once they go to, once you can move to the crown chakra, you are a cosmic being. At this point, at the Christ chakra, you're an avatar, which is a cosmic being too, but you still live here on this realm, but you can also move to the next realm. And you get to the crown chakra, you are a cosmic being. So that Christ chakra is the level where it's the highest level for this realm of existence. And it's the highest point where you'll be bathed in the light of the spirit in order to move on and break the wheel of rebirth. Because once you leave that chakra, you can break the wheel of rebirth. You no longer have to be reincarnated here on this earth.
You said the Christ chakra is the highest from man on this earth. Is that why Shushumna is depicted as terminating at the Christ Center? Or, well, if you're going up, if you're going down, it's depicted as originating from the Christ Center. But
yeah,
but,
yeah.
okay.
That's why it's depicted like that. And that's why in the yogi teachings, they talk about 7 chakras. They mention 7 chakras, but they only really go into 6 chakras deeply, because the 6 chakras are the chakras that you need to know about. 6 major chakras along the spine. Although we know there's 108 chakras, but the major chakras along the spine depicts the rims of of existence that you need to achieve and actually conquer. And within those major chakras are multiple realms of existence, multiple levels of consciousness that you need to, and multiple worlds that you need to conquer, as they say.
You also go on to say that the point that the Christ chakra is the point where the all knowledge space is known and experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean you gain access to all knowledge, or you become all knowledgeable, or that's where that?
I mean, at that level, you can manipulate the Kundalini at will, almost instantaneously. You can move the Kundalini and tap into that all knowledge space at will. And because it is there where it is at this point, which is the command center, where the energies are manipulated, are pulled in the body and manipulated. So you see the full pattern, the full knowledge of it. Because at the next level, when you take the chakra to the next level, to the crown chakra, then what do? You have the full knowledge of what? Of breaking the body down and rebuilding the body into an ascendant body. You see? So that's, that's why that's why I make that statement there. Because ascension is already with the manipulation of the manipulation of Kundalini, you already can bring about a conscious state of death in the physical body, but not a conscious state of death of the mental body, or the mental existence. That's what I'm trying to say. But so at that point, when you get to the crown chakra, when you get to the Christ chakra, you already have the knowledge of how to remake the body. When you get to the crown chakra, you have the power to remake the body. So that's what an ascendant master, or the spiritual hierarchy of Earth, what they did, they pulled all the energies from the lower realms of existence and brought it up to the crown chakra, and then they rebuilt a risen body using the full power of the auric body to allow them to phase in and phase out of any realm of existence they want to on this particular Earth. And to even leave the Earth and travel throughout the solar system or galaxy if necessary. Because why? Because they live in the realms, in the conscious realms of the crown chakra. And they are an avatar and a cosmic being. They are a devatar at that point. And they would never misuse that power at that level. They would never misuse that power. They would follow the strict laws of karma. So in most cases, you won't find them packing their bags and just leaving, you know. They would look to manipulate karma on the behalf of all mankind because of their karmic position.
Okay, okay. So that cleared up some things for me. So it is only after all consciousness is removed from the bodies and you move into the crown that you can reform and reconstruct the bodies into an ascended body.
Yeah. Before then, you can make multiple bodies now. Understand?
Right. You can operate from several bodies.
When you get to when you raise Kundalini to the heart chakra, you can create what they call shades of yourself. But all those shades have to come back to you. When you get to the throat chakra, you could do the same thing. You could create shades of yourself or parts of your consciousness. They can even leave the earth, but they have to come back to you. You know, when you get to the Christ chakra, you can do the same thing. But even at the Christ chakra, you could call to yourself parts of your should I even say that? Well, you can at the Christ center, you can do the same thing. You can create shades of yourself. And you can manipulate energy in any which way you want to. But at the crown chakra, you take the full auric body, the energy to make up the auric body, and even the physical, all the way down to even the physical gross matter, and you bring it into an energy state, and you push it up through the crown chakra, and then you form a risen body out of everything. And now all matter, all mental substance, all auric substance have been risen. And now you can move throughout the planes of existence with your full presence without having a shade of yourself.
Okay. Now the term all knowledge space, you've used that previously to describe the bindu in each of the chakras. And you said that the bindu is unmanifested, but the chakras themselves, the realms themselves are manifested. Now, when talking about the crown chakra, you call it spirit, the unmanifested point of endless potential and all knowledge space. Does that mean the crown chakra is like this isn't correct, but like a giant unmanifested bindu in relation to the other centers? Does that make sense?
Well, the crown chakra becomes, we really don't know about the crown chakra. What we do know is very limited. But we know within the crown chakra, there's thousands of, there's 900 some petals within the crown chakra. So what does that tell us? Within the rest of there's only 50 petals, right?
Correct.
But you go to the crown chakra and there's 900 petals, or the yogis say 1,000 petals. They round it off because it's like 990 something. But here, and then within the crown chakra, we're told that there's 12 major chakras within the crown chakra that makes up the crown chakra. There's 12 major chakras. So within that crown chakra, you have access, the soul resides there. And the soul resides there in full effect, in other words. So the soul have permission to use all the energy it can use under, of course, under strict karmic control. So it is right now, it is serving, the crown chakra is serving as the almost as a bindu to the rest of the chakras for us. But at that point, the soul has control over that region to a point that we can't even begin to understand, because he or she can manipulate the energies to move anywhere they need to move and go anywhere they need to go. And they have access to the universal energy of the solar system and galaxy. See, so and in other words, they have access to the greater bindu points of the moon, the planets, the sun, and even the central sun of the galaxy, but they restrict themselves according to karmic law.
Restrict themselves according to karmic law. So what? So in this description, you call it an unmanifested and endless potential. Those are usually terms we use to describe the absolute.
Yeah.
In it.
Yeah, because they have access to that power, but they restrict themselves according to karmic law. See, it's not like, I mean, we have access to the power, but we deny ourselves out of ignorance.
Mm-hmm,
but
mm-hmm.
They have access to the power and they deny themselves out of intelligence, out of the strict laws of God. But they have access. If they needed to, they can manipulate that energy. It's just like there was in the Swami Rama book, his master, him and his master was on a journey, and they had a mission to perform, and they had to get to a place they needed to go. And when they was going, they was traveling through the Himalayas, and all of a sudden, avalanche began to happen with the snow. The mountain just gave loose, and it was coming down on them. And at that time, that his master was given permission to stop that. And the master raised his hand and said, "Stop." And everything stopped. And then they got out of the way of it and moved to a point where it couldn't hurt them. And the master said, "Continue." And it continued. So they have this great power that they only use, when it's comically permitted to use. He had to finish the mission that he was doing, so he was given permission to use that power. So that's the difference. Just like when you read the story of Jesus, once Jesus ascended, Jesus traveled throughout the world. The Bible say that he spent I don't know what was it, 41 days or 41 appearances or something, but then yet you hear of him popping up all over the world because he was able to use the power in order to manipulate the come of earth because of his sacrifice.
So that story of that master walking beneath that avalanche, that raised the question if karma allowed the master to to use power in a way to stop the avalanche and allow them to safely pass, then why would karma allow the avalanche to fall in the first place, while knowing the master would be there?
Well, I mean, the divas do what they have to do with the energy that they have, remember?
Right, yes, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, the divas manipulate the energy according to, because I'm sure it was more than the master in that area. I mean, that doesn't, but by karmic law, if a master come within a particular area, then certain things can't happen. That's why we're told that when the cosmic masters come to do a particular mission, they may send adepts and masters in certain areas and just say sit there, you know. And as long as they are there, certain things can happen. Once they leave, they can happen, but as long as they are there, certain things can happen. And if certain things do happen, they have the power to manipulate it because karma is on their side. They're given permission to bring about that manipulation.
Okay, so we've said in, or you've said in previous classes, that when the Shakti reaches the base of the spine, it becomes the Kundalini power. Now, when we raise the Kundalini up the Sushumna, does it become Shakti again at the crown?
Yeah, the Shakti. Understand that if you go back, I call it the Shakti consciousness, right?
Yes, yes.
So it's still it becomes the full Shakti consciousness under the common control of the soul. You understand?
Yeah, consciousness, because yes, the soul controls it because the soul is above consciousness.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
The soul is above consciousness, but yet the soul is a manufacturer of consciousness.
Right. It's a conscious vehicle for the spirit.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. I've been going for about, I don't know how long I've been going straight here. If there are any questions, feel free to ask them. Someone, your microphone is on. I'm trying to decide if we should stop here or continue going.
How long we've been here?
So we've been live for almost 2 hours, but I think it's like an hour and a half.
Okay, I don't have my timer with me. Yeah. I mean, if there's no more questions, we can close out, I guess.
Okay. Any further questions? Otherwise, I know I wanted to finish this today, but I guess we'll leave the last.
How much more do you have to go?
Just this final picture here. We talk about the flow of pranas, involution, evolution. That's just one part I haven't read. I think I've read everything else.
We can go with that next time, because if I give everybody a chance to read it, know that we're going to go over it. It's a lot of information in right there.
Okay. All right, so next time we'll look at this section here, the active flow of Kundalini. And then we'll also although we've talked about it several times before, we'll go over it again. The major flow patterns of the 5 major pranas. I don't think that'll take us the whole hour. And then I guess we'll introduce the karmic framework. Well, we'll feel it out and see how we go next time.
They have access to those.
Yes, all these diagrams are in the diagrams folder that I shared with everyone. If you don't have that link, send us a message, send us an email, and I'll add you to our email list at mysticknowledgecenter@gmail.com, all one word. So if there are no further questions, go ahead and close out with our prayer. Just a quick search, make sure there's any questions left. Okay, let's go ahead. I'll go ahead and close out. The New Lord's Prayer. O divine and wondrous Spirit, O everlasting Lord of hosts, send forth now through me thy great and lasting power. Allow me, Almighty God, the lasting privilege of radiating to all the world thy great love, so that those who suffer may be given the power and energy to rise above their weaknesses. Almighty God, in great humility do I ask you to send forth your power to give to me this great lasting privilege of being a channel, so that my suffering brothers may be helped and guided and healed and lifted into thy light, so that they who know not may look up, and in doing so receive to their higher selves your divine counsel. Almighty God, this day have you granted me a divine privilege. I ask you now to give to me the strength, so that never again will I turn from my inner vision of you. Oh, great peace, great peace, great peace. In praise of your greatness, O God, doth my soul sing, granted energy to sing on forever and forever. All right, thank you, everyone. Well, Appy, if you can bring that question again next week or next time, we'll go ahead and answer that for you. Take care, happy Father's Day, and we'll see you next time.